In this lesson, I'm going to teach you about shape tweens. Now, we've used motion tweens, right? Moving, giving an object a start point and end point, and then having Flash simulate the action between. We've also created a motion guide, remember, like circles and stuff, to where it follows this path, which is cool. Now, this thing that we're about to get into, which is shape tweens, or yeah, basically that's what it is, not motion tweens. It's basically morphing an object. You're giving it, okay, this is the object we're starting with, now morph it into this other thing. That's what it is. And it's pretty cool. Alright, so first of all, we're going to start out with a very simple one. I'm going to create a box on layer 1 here on our timeline. I'll hold down, actually let's make sure that we have the rectangle tool selected if we're going to create a box. Okay, it says that layer is locked. I'm going to unlock it. Yes. Okay. Hold down Shift and make this box like so. Now let's use our handy dandy align tool. I'm going to delete everything from the library because this is just a fresh project. Alright, let's minimize everything. I'm going to open my align. Make sure that that box is selected, and then I'm going to choose my horizontal and vertical center. So it's perfectly in the center, like so. Now here's the difference between an object tween and a motion tween that's significant in the way you're setting it up. Remember, with motion tweens, we had to convert the object to a symbol and then turn it into a graphic symbol or whatever before we could then add motion to it. With object tweens, they have to remain objects. So it can't just be, you can't convert it to a symbol and do the same effect. So now we're going to leave it as an object, and we are going to create a keyframe at the end here. Insert keyframe. And now that object is at the beginning of the timeline and at the end. But now what I'm going to do is delete it from the end of the timeline. Bam. Still there at the beginning, but not here at the end. Now I'm going to create a different object entirely. I'm just going to make it a circle, and I'm going to give it a different color. I'm going to give it I think a bluish color. And I'm also going to create a perfect circle, but I'm going to make it a little smaller, like so. Now I'm going to go back to my select tool, select it, align it in the center, make sure to stage is selected, otherwise it's not going to align it to the stage, obviously. So horizontal and horizontal. Wow, I just invented a new word, horizontal. Horizontal and vertical centered. So now this is at the end of the timeline. So it's very similar in some ways to creating the motion tween. We create our start point, we create our end point, and then somewhere in between we are going to choose shape tween. We already get kind of a clue as to it changing state and how it's going to look in the middle here. Like I said, the only difference is you can't convert it to a symbol. It has to stay a shape. So, start from the beginning, hit play. Look at that. It morphed it into this little tiny circle that's a different color. And if we want to go control test movie, we can look at it that way. And so not only did it change shape, but it slowly changed color from the red to the blue. Isn't that cool? This is a cool effect, and this is just a very simple design. Now, to make it a little more interesting, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take our object from the beginning here, and I'll copy it, and then we'll go to 30 more frames in to frame 60, And I'll insert another keyframe. And then at that keyframe, at the end, I will delete this circle, which was the beginning of the keyframe here, right, that we're changing into. But I'm going to delete it at the end of 60. And I'm going to paste our square back in there. Make sure it's vertically and horizontally aligned, which was a little off, you notice there. So now, let's see what it does. What did we forget? We forgot to add the shape tween in between. So what we're going to do is in between here, we'll add our shape tween. And now we'll go back to the, whoops, moving around the stage instead of the timeline like I wanted. Now we'll go back to the beginning. Let's play it again. Shape. Alright, so now if we test the movie, it's just going to keep repeating, going from square to circle, which I think looks cooler than repeating just going from square to circle and then poof back to square to circle. Anyway, so there's a simple shape tween. Now let's do something a little more complex. We are going to use the brush tool, because all of these here within this area of the toolbox, both the brush tool, the pencil tool, the line tool, the oval tool, and the pen tool, which if you've used Photoshop, it's a complex tool, but can be very useful. We'll just mess around with it a little bit later. But the only one that you cannot change shape from and to is the text tool. It's the only thing that we can't morph from or to. So what we're going to do is add another layer. We're going to delete this one we were working on, and it kept the same timeline. In other words, it went to 60, which is fine. Now what we're going to do is grab our brush tool, and it's going to paint with blue, which is fine. And I'm going to put a name in here. My name, let's put my name. Or you know what, I'm just going to put my initials, that's better. Oops. I love the undo function. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, so that's on frame 1. Now, I'm going to go to frame 60. Actually, I don't like the fact that it's that long. I'm going to go to 30. I'm going to insert a keyframe here. And now I'm going to delete AB from that frame and change the color to green. And I'm going to put different initials, about T and L, like so. Alright, and we'll let that go as is. So now, in between, we're going to add our shape tween. Now notice how it took such complex objects as, I keep moving the stage over when I want the timeline, such complex objects as letters that we've drawn and morphs them. See, like so. So we could look at that test movie And notice how the color changed too. So it's kind of cool, huh? All right. So there's a couple very simple shape tweens, and in the next lesson we'll do a little more complicated one. So there you go. Enjoy morphing.